Hey guys, it's me, Media Nerd. This video has been really hard to make because I either ramble on for too long, I get mad, or I get venti, or when I say something, I get worried thinking I'm gonna get attacked for saying it, and no matter how hard I try to explain it, I just get scared and worried I'll get attacked for what I'm saying, and people will attack me for. They'll miss the point I'm trying to make. They'll miss the forest for the trees, the basic. They miss the forest for the trees of what I'm trying to say. Which is so frustrating and just. And it's very just annoying. But to try and at least get to this video, to make the structure of the video more pleasant or bearable, because this isn't going to be a very cheery video. This video is made so I can just finally get this off my chest, so I can finally stop fucking talking about it to my friends and complaining about how much I just don't enjoy modern media and all. So I can finally just fucking move on and have closure with it. I'm gonna say this right here, right now. Modern media is not bad by default. Fiction has always had its bad times, it's had its good times and in-betweens. But it doesn't excuse the recent times at all, because at least in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, there was a commitment, an attempt to improve upon the sloppiness of the past. It wasn't always great, but at least there was an attempt to it. But nowadays, we just seem to want to excuse it because, I don't know, we just like to do it because we've become so complacent, I feel. And what I'm going to be saying in this video, what I'm saying in this video, all the stuff I'm saying, none of it is unique at all. All of us know this, right? All of us have been saying this for so long now. On Twitter, on any social media, on any form, or any formal web forms, form sites, fucking YouTube, Discord, in real life sometimes as well. I've done so. No matter where you go, it's all been said and done, right? What the fuck have I got to add? Well, there's really just again a way for me to just come to closure with things and all that. Not only that, I wanted this to be a bit of a compromised version of why I didn't like Dragon Ball Daima. Because, yeah, I just didn't enjoy Dragon Ball Daima. It was a final nail in the coffin for a lot of things for me. And it was very upsetting, very frustrating, and very just. It was honestly kind of a heartbreaking show to watch, honestly. Not because it was, both because it was the last thing Akira Toriyama made, but also because it didn't. It's just continuing the cycle of Dragon Ball being nothing more but, Dragon Ball for the last 10 years has basically been everything that its haters claim the series is. And, well, it's been proving the haters right ever since 2015 with Dragon Ball Z Revival of F. And the fans don't care because it's either just two things. Either it's the greatest thing ever made and you can't criticize it, or it's the worst thing ever made and you can't dare show any praise to it, sort of thing. And all that. But, yeah. For the few reasons why I wrote down, I did write a little script, never finished it obviously, but I wrote down at least 5 reasons, 5 factors as to why I just don't enjoy modern media. Vestigial improvements, nostalgia pandering, fixing the short term, fixing short term problems and never long term problems. It's just meant to be blindly consumed. It's content to be blindly consumed. I meant to say, with no artistic integrity. Sorry, Sorry, I tend to pronounce words weirdly by mistake. The discourse being nothing but bad faith from both fans and these people who work in these industries as well. Just being on every side, it tends to get really ugly and just end up becoming vicious vitriolic wars, and it's just tiring and just grifters and all that stuff and all that crap. So what I mean by vestigial improvements, right? It refers to how when something is praised, just because it's not the crappy thing from before. Like the Star Wars prequels, the sequels, I mean, they were praised for not being the Star Wars prequels because they were bad and all. Nowadays, people for a while now, for a few years, have been realizing, wow, the Star Wars sequels, they're even worse than the sequels ever were. Or how the 2010s era of Sonic is ironically not as ironically somehow worse than 06 ever was. Because it's not actually improving anything, it's just the bare fucking minimum. Or how, like, you know, Dragon Ball Super and Daima, you know, people gas those up. Well, no, Daima I should really be saying, I should be using. Sonic Frontiers, let me finish this off with Sonic. Frontiers, that was praised just for being, you know, hey, it's not Sonic Forces. Now people are suddenly acting as if the game sucks. Meanwhile, I'm just like, nah, mate, this game sucked back then and it still sucks today. And it always will suck. Until the day I eventually become a Frontiers fan. Hope that never happens. Because I don't want to be a fan of Frontiers because I never believed in the game. Back then, from pre-release to now, I never believed in it, and yeah. And to use Dragon Ball again, people gassing up Daima because, hey, it's not the evil Dragon Ball Super, and it doesn't matter, guys. Like, because it says little about the product itself, and there's other reasons as to why something sucks beyond just it being, you know, oh, well, at least it's not problematic anymore. Oh, well, at least it's not woke now. Oh, well, at least it's not this and that. You know, that sort of bullshit, you know? Like, it has nothing interesting to say about the series at hand. It has nothing interesting to do. It does nothing interesting with the character being a character. It does nothing interesting with, you know, a political theme. It's just brownie points saying, hey, look, I said, you know, buzzword things. Give me the praise for it, instead of, you know, making a genuine point to make something that's thought-provoking, and, you know, it elicits a response from you. Instead, it wants to get a reaction out of you, you know? Like, you know, you gotta do better, Senator, or, you know, the Devil May Cry anime, the new one, where instead of actually making a genuine point about, you know, anything, it's just, you know, oh, well, the ends justify the means, blah, 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 or ha, 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 it's another, you know, show that makes fun of America because millennials seem to hate being American. It's like, yeah, guys, we get it. Can you fucking make another point? Can you have something else to say beyond just you venting about, you know, some dickhead on the internet making fun of you because he's an asshole? Like, come on, guys. Like, again, it's people don't hate political art. They hate political activism being shoved down their throats. Or they hate how, you know, people hate how, with Sonic especially, people just praise something just because, you know, oh, well, at least it's not this, or, you know, that fucking pretentious, toxic positivity, gatekeeping garbage, which is ironic and very self-righteous, honestly, to do. Now, for the next one, nostalgia. I hate that they use nostalgia not as a reward for sticking with the franchise for so long, but as a way to, you know, desperately prove to people, hey, we're still good because, hey, you remember this thing, right? It's just like the thing of the good old days. Or, like, they disguise it as if it's something new, but it's not really something new. It's just copying it and acting like it's new. A good example is Ultra Instinct. Or to use another example where they use nostalgia as a cheap gimmick instead of actually trying to have the thing there to actually, you know, remind you why you liked it, and as a reward and all that. You know, Dragon Ball Daima has Super Saiyan 4, and it doesn't improve upon any of the flaws of the original Super Saiyan 4 in GT. And I like Super Saiyan 4, but there were issues with how it was written, such as, you know, it was an ass pull. It was redundant of Goku's character arc from the Frieza arc where he accepts his Saiyan heritage. But what I do like about it is the idea behind it that, you know, how Goku's meant to achieve the form is through him not an intense, pure heart awakened by intense anger like the original Super Saiyan was, but through like, you know, family and remembering the love and, you know, the memories of your loved ones and family and all, you know, it's peace and all, whatever it is, you know. Like, it's corny as shit, but at least it was trying to say something, and it was trying to be sincere and, emotional or add something of substance to it. It tried to add meaning to the transformation. It wasn't executed very well, but I do appreciate the attempt to do something with it. But in Daima, Goku just gets the new form from Neba. Yes, that's his name. No, not Neba. Never. Yeah, Never. I think that's his name. Sorry. I'm sorry if it sounds like I said the N word. I didn't, guys. I swear. I'm sorry. Never. Like, he just shoots Goku with an energy blast. And then, like, he just gets Super Saiyan 4 in this weird, unintentional reference to Spider-Man 1 with the DNA strand. And then he becomes Super Saiyan 4 and... yeah, that's it. There's no build-up, no nothing. It's just there for hype. And the reason why Goku has it is not because of an asshole he was given to by Never. It was because he... apparently he did train for it, but he claims that he didn't think it would work out. What do you mean by that? Like, are you kidding me? Yo, so you bring back a form that is iconic, that people like beyond just the aesthetics, and you just go, oh, well, here's the thing, it's Super Saiyan 4, but without any of the actual, things that you liked about it. And the same goes for Daima as well, just being nothing but, hey, it's like the original Dragon Ball, but we're not going to actually put in the effort to showcase, why the original Dragon Ball was good. Kind of like how Dragon Ball Super was also just, Dragon Ball Z, but without any of the actual, reasons why people like Dragon Ball Z. It was just, they both just ape the vestigial reasons and, feelings of, those two parts of the series, the original one of the series, and do a very horrible job at it. Much like how GT did. And the same thing with Sonic, even though, a game like Sonic Mania or Sonic X-Star Generations, those may be good games that use nostalgia much better. At the same time, though, this does lead into, this other point I made about fixing the short-term problems and never the long-term problems, where with the constant need of nostalgia, regardless if it's good or bad, ultimately, it's the big companies see nothing but money in their eyes and want to exploit our nostalgia and our clinginess to the past, instead of actually realizing, okay, we know we screwed up, let's actually try to make you guys happy for once. Let's try to actually make the customers happy for once, instead of always satisfying, the blind consumer fanboys and all that, or appeasing the dickheads who never even liked our products in the first place, or appeasing the online grifters and the people who are more interested in seeing people, the more those people who make their personality, owning the chuds and all that, which is what the hell is a chud supposed to mean? I've never heard this. Well, I've heard of it, but I don't know what the hell it seems to mean. And it seems to be just people who are left-wing and right-wing grifters who are just, taking advantage of everything. And now I'm going to get called offensive just for saying that, aren't I? Even though I'm actually quite traditional and quite progressive, funny enough. But, and to go on a little bit more, like, while I do acknowledge Sonic X-Star Generations for being a good game, I do acknowledge the merit, and I do appreciate, that the game at least looks like it's a fun game, and it does at least have some thought put into its design and all. I do appreciate that. And, think it's got merit. I do appreciate the merit and all, but what annoys me more is the fact that Sega is not going to see the actual good parts of it. They're just going to see the nostalgia, the surface level, and go, yeah, let's continue making more games where it's just nostalgia again, because nowadays it's no longer about appeasing to the classic Sonic fans. Now it's the Adventure Era fans. Yay! Or like with Silent Hill 2 Remake. Good game, good remake. I did enjoy it from what I've played. But I wish we got a new Silent Hill game instead of a remake of this best game in the series, because actually I'll save this. I want to say this. Apparently, they've want Shueisha and all this stuff. Not Shueisha, like Akira Yoku and some other person, whatever it is. I can't remember his name. I think it was one of the animators. They said they want to remake Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because I don't know why, for some reason. Because I don't know. I guess the series is 40. Well, I don't know why, but basically, like in Superhero and in Diamond, there was recaps of the Cell and Buu arcs, which served as a work a working as a what was it like as a test pilot for what a remake of Dragon Ball Z could be like, and even if the thing ended up being good, right? The problem is with all these good nostalgia things that are more about, appeasing the past and, showcasing, remaking the good old days and bringing back the good old days. Yeah, that doesn't mean shit, guys, when the franchise is clinging to it for so long that it refuses to do anything new. And it just says to the big companies, we know you only care about the past, and you don't want to move on from it because you're so stuck in it that any attempt to move on or take any risks, no, was shut down immediately because, Dragon Ball GT was bad, Sonic 06 was bad, or, like this thing that people hate was so bad, they don't want to, move on and accept the fact that, yeah, the series has to change and they want to cling on to, the older thing. And the funny thing is, right, with like, the genre meter of Spider-Man for like Joe Quesada and all these other Spider-Man editors, or the Dragon Ball Z era and all that, or the Sonic Adventure era, why those eras were great was because they were evolutions of the eras that came before. And they also were fucking great too. And the problem with GT and like later Spider-Man runs, specifically, like the Dan Slott stuff, that's when it became really fucking terrible for Spider-Man. And all that. The issue is, they cling on to the past, or they don't really understand the series very well, and they do all these weird things that just don't make sense. And instead of trying to actually, fix them, they just cling to the past, like I've said. And admittedly, I kind of lost my train of thought. I hate when I do that. This is probably why I should have done it scripted, but oh well. But you get the point I'm trying to make. I don't think I need to explain any longer. Maybe I could explain a bit better in the comment section as well, but yeah. And so, yeah, I don't want any more remakes, even if they're good, because, as I said, to summarize it, all it really says is a legacy series peaked in the past, and we're stuck in the past, and we need to move on and make newer good things that will be iconic on their own, Sorry, and lastly, I guess I could not lastly. It's just content meant. Actually, I guess this will be the last thing to talk about, because I just want this video to be around 20 minutes to 30 minutes long. It's just content made to be blindly consumed with no artistic integrity behind it. Like legacy franchises, oftentimes they come back and they get like a new sequel, a new show, new whatever. And again, like I've said, with nostalgia and all, or even like a new thing that's just there to be made with no actual effort put into it. It's just run-of-the-mill, bare minimum slop made to be just, put on the TV while you just scroll on your phone on TikTok or whatever. Yeah, it's just garbage with no actual substance to it. It's slop, and it's just frustrating and boring. And is there another point I want to make? Well, I guess I can make this one last point about about like what I wanted to say with my Dragon Ball Diamond video when I did want to make it. We need to stop, and this can also apply to Sonic, Spider-Man, all this other stuff, but we need to stop clinging to the past and also stop relying on something feeling so much like, X and Y or whatever. Because yes, while I do agree something should always try to feel like the original thing, at the same time though, you can never truly recreate the past, no matter how hard you try, because it's impossible, it's fruitless, and it's just, if you live in the past, you're not really living, aren't you? And you should always live in the moment and all. And I'm saying this because it's ironic that, people want to recreate the past and all, when the things that they cling on to, they weren't recreating the past. They were innovating, during the present time and their time and all. And, like, for me, like, with Sonic, Dragon Ball and all that, if there ever is to be a new thing that comes up with them, I don't expect much other than, if you're going to be lighthearted, be lighthearted. If you want to be serious, be serious. Whatever it is, just do it fucking well. And do it beyond the bare minimum, please. And at least, yeah, obviously still feel like the series I still like and all and cherish, but adds something new to it to where, it respects the old fans, but the newer fans, they can have something that they can that they can be proud of, saying that this was my Dragon Ball, or this was my Sonic, or this was my, Spider-Man. Like the Raimi films, for example, right? Despite some of my issues with the sequel specifically, like I will never say that these were at least trying to respect the source material. And we Raimi fans, well, not really Raimi fans because I'm not really much of a Raimi fan, but a lot of the fans of that trilogy, they can probably say, yeah, this was my Spider-Man. And many of the older Spider-Man fans at the time who watched the movie were like, those films, like mostly were like, yeah, the Raimi films, they're great, sounds sweet and all that. And with these newer Spider-Man fans like my age and all, now that we're 20 years old and all that stuff, now we're nostalgic and saying, yeah, this is my Spider-Man. I remember my Spider-Man. Yeah, he was goated and all that. You know, it's like what A Hat 96 says. There's nothing wrong with having nostalgia for something that you love, but also it's also fair to have another generation have their own, their own nostalgia, and making something that's just that tries to be for a new generation yet requires the old fans to understand. That requires knowledge of the thing, requires being an older fan to understand it. Doesn't really is not very helpful. In fact, it's kind of counterintuitive and counterproductive. Not counterproductive, but counter. It defeats the purpose essentially of your thing trying to apparently be for, it's just for kids or and all that. When it references things from an older piece of fiction of the series that's iconic and all, like it's kind of dumb. And ultimately, when you make something that's for the newer fans or whatever, or for the newer whatever it is, or try to excuse it with saying it's not for you and the blah blah blah, is it really for everyone? Is it really for, like, honest? Is it really for, uh, anyone when, like, it's simultaneous? No, hang on. I said this before back in the day, a few months ago. Like, ironically, modern media is for everyone whilst not being for everyone. In a sense, like, Dragon Ball Super, they make callbacks to the past, but yet the writing and everything is so dumbed down for the newer fans and all, because they think new fans can't handle, something with depth, something with subtlety and all that. And again, it goes back to the thing of, what I said before, making something that, the newer fans can one day say that they can be proud of, saying this was my thing, and the older fans can be happy that it's being respected, and all that. It has a place. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think that's all I wanted to say. I know this was a very to conclude off before I end off. In summary, I have come to peace with modern fiction. I've come to realize that it's not all bad, but it should be a lot better. And while I am a bit of a doomer in a lot of ways, and I'm very cynical and jaded, there is a small part of me that just hope it's still good and it eventually does get better. Because honestly, it should really, because deep down, I'm not a negative guy. I am a positive guy. Well, I claim, okay, that's a load of bullshit. I'm not actually that positive, but deep down, I do actually want things to improve. I don't actually want all this negativity anymore. And maybe it's a bit, I don't know, childish or way too black and white of me to want things to be perfect, or not perfect, but try to actually things get better. But come on, guys, do we want to continuously be in the cycle of, hating on things we used to like but now suck because of multiple factors? I don't think so. And to end off, as I pointed out, yeah, there are some modern things I do like. I'll list a few things. I did like Komi Can't Communicate. Thought that was a very sweet and heartfelt anime. I didn't finish it, but I enjoyed what I enjoyed. I did like Wolverine and Deadpool. It wasn't the best movie I made. I had some problems with it, but it was an enjoyable, decent movie. I had some fun with it. I did enjoy King of the Fighters 15. Thought it was a really fun fighting game. Like I said, Silent Hill remake, good game, good remake. Not better than the original, but I think it's a good, new way to experience the original that captures the original feeling, but does its own unique thing at the same time. Now, if only they actually re-release the old Silent Hill games, that would be nice. And I am not like looking forward for it, but I am intrigued in getting interested in playing more King of the Fighters. For some reason. Okay, being serious. Like I am interested in playing the new King of the Fighters game. I think it's called Cry of Wolves. I think that's what it's called. I think the game looks generally fun, and I actually like the art style of the game too. But yeah, ultimately, I am more into older fiction because you don't have to deal with a lot of the problems that modern media has. But at the same time, I do want to at least have something of. I do at least want to keep up with newer things and all that. Yeah, it may be far and few between what I am interested in when it comes to modern media, but like I've said in the video beforehand, there's always going to be good things, there's always going to be bad things. We are in an era where we're just getting over, the growing pains, but I do believe eventually we'll get into things getting eventually better and good. And, I apologize if this video was unscripted. I apologize for the ramblings. A 30-minute rambling video of me talking, and I actually feel a lot better now that I got this out. Unfortunately, I have to listen to my voice, my awful voice, and my awful recording, hearing this, and all that. But yeah, apologize again for the unscriptedness. I apologize for how rambly it was. Apologize for not explaining it very well, but what can you do? But if you have anything you want to add, please do. I hope to God you do, because I want you to, because I appreciate the comments as well. And that's, and well, I like getting comments. They're fun. So, as for anything else, before I end the video, I am going to be working on reviews, guys, but I have been having some other things going on in my life I need to get over and overcome. I can't promise they're going to be coming out very soon, but I will at least try to make some content this year and make more that's just not commentaries and all that. So yeah, hope you guys had a good day. Hope to God this recording was actually, hope this is the last recording I have to do, and see you later, guys.